The risk of paid political advertising and advertising online during an election, particularly in Macedonia, but in lots of countries, is that it can have an outsized effect on discourse. It can effectively flood the zone, if you will, with regards to the way in which narratives are disseminated, because people do pay attention to what is being discussed. The benefits are that it can allow lots of different people to get their voices heard. What we know about the online space more generally is that it can provide a great opening of the discourse, but unless, for example, paid political advertising is provided equitably, or unless there are proper safeguards in place, all what it can do is sort of serve to embed inequities that are already in the system. It can serve the establishment as opposed to people that want to get their voices heard. And if you introduce state money into this equation, then that state money can also get misused if it isn't properly overseen by a regulatory body. So if the way in which you can ensure professionalism, perhaps through state-provided money, is to establish certain criteria to the receipt of that money. So what you could do is have a series of portals which are trusted, which you know adhere to certain journalistic standards, which have a certain number of, which have editorial standards in place, and which also have a certain number of staff, a turnover, and are trusted resources. And then what you can do is effectively entrust those portals with this state money and with engaging in the discourse. That's what quite a lot of countries across the world do, not necessarily in exactly the same way, but you have what are called sort of trusted broadcasters that sign up to certain regulations and are regulated, and then you sort of know that the rules are being followed. The main ways in which we think that the system can be improved is working within the system to think about ways in which the system can be more transparent, think about ways in which the rules can be enforced more effectively, and thinking about ways to make the formula for the distribution of these funds more equitable. So we hope that by doing that, particularly around making the formula much more equitable, and indeed in introducing better transparency obligations, is that will encourage people to engage in the system as opposed to disincentivize them. What we've got the aim in many ways of public financing in politics is to encourage a vibrant democracy. So we've got to be very careful that when we do introduce state financing, that it serves that end.